Okay, so here's a question from Pre-Calc 11, assignment 6.4, question 1H. Okay, well, the long story short is the answer for this one is number one, there are no solutions. Okay, that's a short answer. Okay, and what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna explain to you guys why are there no solutions. Okay, so whenever you do these questions, the first thing you gotta do is, okay, let's call this like step 2. Let's find your NPVs first. Okay, and the NPV has really nothing to do with no solution. I just thought I'd do it for you guys. So when you look for the NPVs, you look at the denominators. You're given that x squared minus 1 is NPV, so that cannot be 0. So x cannot equal 2 plus or minus 1. This one over here, you have x squared plus 5x plus 6 cannot equal to 0. So you factor this, you get x plus 2, x plus 3 cannot equal to 0. So therefore x cannot equal to negative 2 or negative 3. The last one is, it's already covered. Okay. So what I'm going to do next is rewrite this whole equation with the denominators factored. So you get 3x squared over x plus 1 times x minus 1, and then plus 2x squared over x plus 2 times x plus 3, and then equals to 4 over x plus 3. Now you see how these two have the same partly denominator? What I'm going to do is I'm going to move this one to the right side, and it just makes things a little easier to work with, okay? So we get 3x squared over, I'm just going to keep this as x squared minus 1, okay? Equals 2, now you have a 4 over x plus 3, and I'm going to move this second piece to the right. Now it's positive on the left, and when you move to the right, it becomes negative. So it becomes minus 2x squared over plus 2 times x plus 3. And the reason I'm moving it to the right is because you see this first term, you see how the denominators are the same? So I'm going to change this to multiply top and bottom by x plus 2, x plus 2. And this way I end up getting a common denominator, okay? So I hope this makes sense. So now you go 3x squared over x minus 1 is equal to, now you see how the two terms on the right, they have the same denominator? So you can put them all together, you just go x plus 3 times x plus 2, okay? And then everything on the top now becomes 4x plus 8 minus 2x squared. All right. Now, after this step, I'm going to cross multiply it. And the reason why I can cross multiply is because you only have one term on the left and one term on the right. So this is like a over b is equal to c over d. So when you cross multiply, you take the top left and you multiply by the bottom right. So AD is equal to top right and bottom left equal to b times c. Okay? Yeah. So I'm going to go 3x squared multiplied by the bottom right here, which is x plus 3 times x plus 2. And you already know what that is because I had that factored before. So I'm going to put it back to what it was. It's supposed to be x squared plus 5x plus 6. And on the other one is going to be x squared minus 1 times, now I'm going to put the negative 2x squared in front. And then plus 4x plus 8. Okay? So I know this looks pretty ugly. And some of you actually worked this out, okay? So again, I want to move, expand everything. So this times this gives you 3x power 4. This times that gives you 15x cubed. And then 3x squared times 6 is 18x squared. Equals 2. Then take the x squared, you times by each of those. Again, negative 2x4 plus 4x cubed plus 8x squared. And then negative 1 times everything, go plus 2x squared minus 4x and then minus 8. Okay? So since the 3x squared is positive on the left, so I'm going to move everything to the left. So this one goes to the left. They cancel, so you get 5x to the power 4. Okay? 15x cubed doesn't have any like terms, I think. Yeah, so plus, no, it actually does. So 4x cubed, you move to the left. So plus 11x cubed. Okay? I think I did everything right. Okay? And then after this, so they cancel out here. And then over here you have 8 and 2. 8 plus 2 is 10. You move the other side, so you go plus 10x squared. And then after that, I'm going to bring the 4x to the left. So you go plus 4x, and then bring the 8. So plus 8 is equal to 0. Okay? So now you're down to this equation here. 5x4 plus 11x cubed plus 10x squared plus 4x plus 8. And you're going to try to find, is it possible to come up with a value for x so that this whole equation will be equal to 0? The answer is, actually, it's not possible. No matter what you plug in for x, it's always going to be bigger than 0. Okay? So I'll try and pull up a little program for you to see how this works. So just give me a second. And I'm going to pull out the math program. Here we go. Math programs. Okay. So I hope this works. Math programs. Math programs. VTI. And then here we go. You have virtual TI. Turn this thing on. Okay, let's see if I have the virtual TI running. And here we go. No, sorry, taking a while. Just pauses. Okay, so right now I'm going to show you how this looks like, okay? Now you're not actually required to know how to use a graphing calculator, but I'm just going to do it anyways. Okay, so I'm going to type this equation in and I'll show you how it looks like. So you have 5 times x to the power of 4 plus 11 times x to the power of 3 plus 10x squared plus 4x plus 8. So here's an equation that actually graphs this whole equation, okay? So when I press graph, whoops, let me just change the window. Okay, so I'm going to graph this out. So change the window, so that you get a bigger graph, what you see. So press graph. Here is how the equation looks like. So what you notice is it's almost like a parabola. It comes from the top, goes down, 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 and then hits the lowest point. And this lowest point, okay, so if I press trace, you can actually see these values. Okay, so you see how, hey, when the values are negative for x, it goes from 41 to 26, goes all the way down, down, down. And lowest it'll get to something like 7.4-ish. And then eventually it goes back up. So when it's equal to 0, that means your y coordinate is supposed to be 0. But if you look at these points, none of the y values ever reach 0. So therefore, because of that, you end up having no solutions. Okay, hope that makes sense.